Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to yet another exciting episode of the NBP Show. As always, I'm your host, Daltman, bringing you the recap of Week 4 play. That's right, interconference, interdivisional play as AFC goes head-to-head with NFC. So, a matchup that several people were excited to see, and that is Ancient Empires number 1 taking on Tar and Feather number 1. That was last year's finalist, back-to-back finalist, Warfire Stones and Rocky is back, and their 2-0-1 record taking on Night of the Living Dread, coached by Coach Shushnik with a 1-1-1 record. This game would not be even at all. It was a 0-3 win for the Night of the Living Dread as they established some dominance here as they look to make a playoff run again this season, and that's a big statement there, defeating the two-time finalists there in a 3-0 rout. We then go down to Booty Butt Pirates, number 2, taking on Chaotic. That is Predator 1460 and Rebel Knight respectively, each having a 1-1-1 record there. And the 1-1-1 record would produce a 1-1 game. So that would knot things up there and put the running at 1-1 for Tar and Feather. So then we drop down to number 3, where Commissioner Kamikoze and Scumdogs of the Universe would take on yours truly and the Badass Women's Association. This would be quite a game, as the Badass Women's Association would receive the ball first and take quite a while to score and make it 1-0 going into the half. Then very, very aggressive defense as Bawa kicks it to the Nurgle team. They managed to get in the backfield early and scoop the ball downfield and take most of the game again to score to make it 2-0. The Nurgle team had a chance, but it was just a little slow on their offense there at the end of the game, and the game ended 2-0 as they tried to score a touchdown. So, things are looking great for Tar and Feather in this matchup so far. We move on down to the Boys and Blake Nuts 666 with their 1 win and 2 losses, taking on the Kitchen Raiders, who were also 1-1-1. Deadlock at points, like we mentioned in the last episode here in the Tar and Feather division, 3 points all, and 3 points would produce 3 points, to use that again there, as the Kitchen Raiders would score 3 touchdowns, and I believe all of them were one-turn touchdowns, or at least 2 of them were, against the Boys, the leading passing team / orc team in the league. Going down 2-3, it looked a lot closer on paper than it was actually in the game, because that touchdown was very late for the Boys. And Tar and Feather here mopping up Ancient Empires, 3-1-0 to start it off for the AFC. Man, that's quite a lead for the AFC. Moving on to Beheaded Kings versus Deep Dark Division. We're going to start it off at the bottom though. Radamataz and Cole 66 Manx going up against Joe's Imaginations, 2 teams that are winless. One team has only lost, one with the draw there. Joe's Imaginations were looking to finally get some form of points, but they just could not do it as Radamataz scores and 2 goals in the game. 2 goals in the game, and it puts them ahead and gets them their first win and gets them 2 much-needed points. Joe's Imagination now is at 0-4. They're very, very close to relegation, I would say. And I'll go ahead and tell you Cole 66 and Radamataz are in the running for NFC Coach of the Week. Same with Night of the Living Dread for AFC and the Badass Women's Association for AFC. Again, that's very heavy biased on Tar and Feather, but those were very, very good showings. Now, Dinosaurus Rex, Berzo, 1985, a former NFC Proving Grounds champion, taking on Villains of DC, Blue 6 Max, getting all of these sixes and all of these usernames mixed up. But yes, that's Villains of DC taking on Dinosaurus Rex. Both of these teams in their third season at 1-1-1 apiece. And they have a 0-0 draw, actually. Not many times you see that in Blood Bowl, but it's always beautiful when you do, when two bash teams just sit and bash each other and ignore the ball and don't even care about the score. And that's what we saw there. Now, we go up to a game that didn't really happen, actually. Afro Chef 82 is missing in multiple leagues. Nobody's heard anything from him. If anybody does hear anything from Afro Chef, please let us know. I think we're all concerned about him and residential goodness at this point. He had a 2-0-1 record going into this game against Jim Sardonic's Crown Royals. They tried and tried, but tried as they might, they were not able to get this game off as Afro Chef, again, is missing. So the win does go to Jim there with that one, a 2-1 victory there, getting two easy but worrisome points there. I think we're all concerned about Afro at this point and hope we see him surface soon. But we go up to the number one game in Beheaded Kings and Deep Dark Division. Scarface Scavengers 2-0-1, coached by Legend T969. The Chaos Dwarfs taking on the Skaven of a sinking ship that's sinking quite so slowly in their third season here. 2-1-0, coached by Bortbot18. And once again, they continue to tread water a little bit longer as these two teams actually go 1-1. That's one of those matchups that you think the Chaos Dwarfs are going to go rat smashing, but that didn't really happen as 1-1 there. So that kind of evens things up a little bit here as Beheaded Kings versus Deep Dark results in 1-2-1 for both AFC and NFC there. So that puts us at 4-3-1, it looks like, for Tar and Feather compared to 1-3-4 for NFC, and excuse me, not Tar and Feather, AFC versus NFC. Now, on to the next matchup, which was Old World versus Saltworks, and the Fun Guys versus Johnny Rottens. Two winless teams here, both at 0-1-2, looking to mash up here and grab some points. And that's exactly what Johnny Rottens did. Coming off their draw against the three-time champion last week, they get two more needed points, putting them to 3 total points in league play here as they score 2-0 to win. Johnny Mao over Prime Sinister there, getting some points. So, Grim Ripping Institute in third place at 0-1-2, coached by fantastic Dr. J. They took on the Terrible Ghouls at 1-0-2. Tons of Fun 52, trying to have a good season here. Both these teams needing some points. A draw really hurts both of them, but that's exactly what happens as a 1-1 draw gives them each a point. But man, they really, really have a lot of ground to cover now as they each only have 3 points, it looks like, apiece. Grim Ripping Institute 2. So we have the Rainforest Queens as well in the number 2 matchup. Fellow Amazon team and coach there, Jonah 2005 UK. Looking to recover from last week, having to go against the number 2 team in Saltworks. Well, I should say recover from last week when he had to go against Wheelie in Old World. And now he's going against number 2 in Saltworks, which is 2-time champion Zorn Ooze Cool Zealots Midway. The coach, not the team. But the team is definitely attempting to win their second championship here, I believe. And that was a brutal game for the Amazons. No better way to put it than that. The Amazons got pummeled by all of that tackle and all of that bashy goodness that is Chaos Dwarfs. In a 2-1 victory, though, they kept it close, and it seemed like it was anyone's game for a long time, and that really put them in the running there for AFC Coach of the Week. Now, the very last NFC Coach of the Week potential here is Wheelie and number 1 in Old World versus Demented out of Saltworks, who is number 1. And that was a matchup between two people who definitely are in the running for the finals. Pretty much at this point, you would have to expect either of these teams, if not both, to make it. But the 3-time champion proved why he is the 3-time champion, picking up another win here as his undead team of Cannibal Corps taking on Boom Shake the Room of Wheelie. And that pretty much disqualifies all of NFC from Coach of the Week. There was only one coach in all of NFC this week that got a win. There were 4 total draws and 7 total losses, and I have to give it to the one win of NFC, and that is Radamataz and Cole 66 Man X are the team of the week / coach of the week for NFC. AFC had so many choices, lots of good wins here. Had a 2-1 victory by the Zorn Ooze Cool Zealots, a 1-0 victory by the Cannibal Corps, defeating the 3-0 Boom Shake the Room. We also have the Night of the Living Dread with their 3-0 victory, and then the Badass Women's Association with a 2-0 victory. Really hard to not give it to Cannibal Corps, the 3-time champion, taking on the undefeated Boom Shake the Room and winning. But it's also very hard to deny a 3-0 victory against a 2-time finalist, back-to-back finalist. And so I have to give that one to Night of the Living Dread and Coach Shishnik. Also just playing into the bias of being in Tar and Feather. We had quite a few transfers. We'll definitely get to those, trying to keep this show from being extremely long. But what I do want to cover is the matchups for next week, the week that's going on currently. I don't think any of these have been played yet, and if they have, I haven't saw the results. And as always, I'm not going to spoil them. Reserving that for next show. So, I will just go bottom to top. Old World versus Deep Dark. We got the Fun Guys and Prime Sinister taking on Joe's Imaginations. The winless teams going head-to-head, very much needing points there. Grim Reaping Institute, 0-2-2. Fantastic Dr. J taking on Villains of DC, 1-2-1. That's the 3rd place game. Now, Rainforest Queens, 2-0-2, Jonah 2005 UK, versus Jim Sardonyx Crown Royals, 3-0-1. That's the 2nd place game. Now, 1st place. Quite a matchup here as Boom Shake the Room, 3-0-1, taking on a sinking ship, 2-2-0, to try and claim some playoff spots here. We're in the running at this point. We're in the second half of the season, and every point counts at this juncture in the season. So we very much need to see a lot of points from a lot of teams here if we're trying to, make some playoff runs. But hopefully some wild cards will peek out very soon. We'll start seeing the shapings of that being made. But we'll go on up to Beheaded Kings, Tar and Feather. Residential Goodness, 2-0-2, Afro Chef 82, versus Chaotic, 1-2-1, Rebel Knight. Again, very concerned for Afro Chef. Hope he returns and can play that game. If not, I believe we'll have to call up somebody from the Proving Grounds or get a replacement of sort. Very much hope Afro returns, though. Really would love to see that matchup. Radamataz in the 3rd place game, 1-1-2, versus the Kitchen Raiders, 2-1-1. Skaven versus Skaven matchup there. Look to see a high score in that one, I imagine. Or maybe even just a bash fest. I love that about Skaven versus Skaven games, that a lot of times they just lay into each other and then still score like so many points. So who knows? I think both teams may possibly have a one-turner, and if so, ridiculous results would be there if that's true. So then the second place game is Dinosaurus Rex, 1-2-1, taking on yours truly in the Badass Women's Association. And then the Scarface Scavengers V2 is the first place game, 2-1-1, taking on Shushnik and Night of the Living Dread, who is also 2-1-1. So that kind of lays out most of the competition there, but we have one to go, and that is Ancient Empires versus Saltworks. Again, kind of like last week, I'm going to keep up with these on an aggregate score, last week versus this week, and then total week. So, if NFC balls out this week and can destroy a bunch of AFC teams, I don't see it happening, just because I'm biased towards the AFC. But if they do, they could, capture this AFC versus NFC matchup we have going on here in the mid-season. The boys in fourth place, 1-0-3, taking on Johnny's Rottens. Both of these teams stay in fourth place, grabbing another fourth place game here. Good opportunity for points here between Rottens and the boys. So, Scumdogs of the Universe in third, taking on the Terrible Ghouls. Another good opportunity for points as each of these teams are 1-1-2. Now, we go to Booty Butt Pirates, a team that I think everybody loves. Such a fun name to say. Going up against another team that's fun to say, the Zorn Ooze Cool Zealots, 3-0-1. Head-to-head there. I think that's Chaos Dwarf versus Chaos Dwarf. That's going to be madness. Then, finally, two-time finalists, 2-0-2, Warfire Stones taking on Cannibal Corps. This is a matchup, folks, that is a rematch of the finals of last season. I'm actually very excited to see this one because this is a chance for Rocky is back to settle the grudge that he has against the Cannibal Corps. Rocky is back has a grudge against Midway Monster and the Zorn Old School Zealots, but also Cannibal Corps and Demented. So, the rematch of last season's finals, they're on display in regular season. That's a playoff game, folks. I hope somebody can stream that. If not, I want to stream that. Let's find out when that game is. Let's get some people to see that. That's an amazing game there. I saved that best one for last. I think that's arguably the best matchup. But I guess we should cover some of those transfers, because I did mention we would do that. Just bringing up the forums here. As always, if you guys like the show this week, hit the thumbs up. If you don't subscribe already, do subscribe here and on Twitch too, please. But also don't forget the official NBP YouTube channel. If you don't subscribe there, we definitely need to do that as well so we can get 100 subscribers and change that vanity link to something that's not a crazy string of numbers. We do have quite a lot of transfers here, but I just want to cover over some of them. That is registration. That is not transfers. Here's what I'm looking for. Okay, we have quite a bit of transfers. One of the first ones I see here is Midway Monster and the Zealots are taking Glodson of the Uberwald Deep Downers. And then they're also going to get Gasgut from Zorn Oozcool Auxiliary, sending down Mort Stonesucker. So that'll be an interesting call up there. I should have got the lowdown on some of these skills, but I told you guys to get them to me and see what the skills and all that were, and I put them on the show. Nobody did that, so we're just going on what's on the forums. The boys sending down Tiny Boy, calling up Corey Large Splooge. Oh, come on, from the Trady Floss. What a name on the boys. And then they're buying Jez Flogmore from the same team, 100K player. Quite a player. Villains of DC sending down Raz Osgul, a blocker, and bringing up All-Star Villains player Khan. He's a blocker with a premium, very close to leveling up there. Then we have Storm Vermin. Rocky is back. Trading down a Line Rat. and then cutting an injured Storm Vermin after the trade is confirmed. Dog barking there. I'm pretty much just reading off the forum. So amend a transfer for the Zealots. Mr. Blue is coming from Mr. B 1129 coming from his team. So that's a good transfer there from a coach who's not in the pros any longer. And then Rebel Knight is actually getting Glodson instead. Yours truly, Bawa sent down Susan B. Anthony. We called up Chainsaw. She's a guard, mighty blow, tackle, no, stand firm, blitzer. And then we also purchased Benazir Budo. She's a dauntless wrestler. And then we tried to send up Amelia Earhart to the Rainforest Queens, but I don't know if that trade ever went through. Dr. Death going up to Fantastic Dr. J's team. Scarface Scavengers gets Mr. Thunderclaw. Radis of DK gets Storm Vermin Weapon X. He's got, I believe, Finn tackle Mighty Blow, and he replaces Rachel Rabies on that team. So that actually covers all the transfers. Not quite as many as I thought. Hopefully this episode hasn't ran too long. But as always, I hope it's informative and keeping you guys up to date on what's going on in NBP. Hope you guys enjoyed it. But other than that, that's all we got for today. Stay tuned for the next episode. Can't wait to see the results for Week 5 and give you guys the rundown of Week 6. So, see ya.